If your meal looks plant-based, but your energy doesn't match it, this might be the missing piece you need. Because going plant-based isn't about things that you have to remove. It's also about how you build your plate. And today I'm showing you a visual framework that's going to make eating balanced almost automatic. If this is your first time, welcome. If it's not, I knew you'd be back. I'm Carletta, your plant-based strategist, and this is part 2 of the healthy plant-based eating course. Let's get straight into the plate method. We're going to go ultimately what's the plate method, and we're actually going to add a little bit more. So you're going to have an introduction, a breakdown, and of course a summary. Let's talk about it. So the plate method is something that the United States and Canada have incorporated into their own dietary guide. So we're just piggybacking off of it. So the method is you're going to put a certain portion of your macros on your plate. That way you get a fully balanced meal, as well as you learn about portions. Portions is automatic. This way you don't have to overthink them. All right, let's break it down. So this is the plate method as we know it. We know we have a quarter of fruit, a quarter of vegetables, a quarter of grains, and a quarter of protein, and also a little dairy. As you see, when it comes to vegetables, it is something that we all understand. We know what a fruit and vegetable is. Hopefully my nutrition nerds can speak to it. We know that when it comes to a fruit, that means the seeds are actually inside of it and it has some sort of juice. We know tomatoes are fruit, as well as cucumbers are a fruit. They're also in limbo when it comes to being on the line of fruit and vegetable, but mainly we know what a vegetable is, we know what a fruit is. Now we're going to talk about grains, proteins, and we also already know what dairy is. Now this is a plate method for plant-based eaters. Just like how their plate method is, except for we see it visually as half a plate. Half of a plate is fruits and vegetables, and I wouldn't even say fruits and vegetables. I say you eat fruit, of course, but half of your plate should be vegetables. Vegetables are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, and so we want to have more vegetables than anything else. Then we have our grains, we have our proteins, and on the sides are other additions. We know it's not the core of the plate. So we have our fats, we have our plant-based dairy, as well as we definitely have to have our supplements. Let's break down what all these foods are. So we see here that vegetables is recommended for 50 to 60% of your plate. So half of your plate is vegetables. And when we talk about vegetables, we're talking about leafy greens, broccoli, as you can see here from the beautiful variety, picking out the things that we know don't have seeds on the inside. So celery, fennel, all of these things work great for our bodies, and they give you all the essential nutrients, vitamins that you need. Next is protein. Our protein is 20 to 25% of our plate. Now for plant-based protein, we know that this is minus animal products. So that is going to be beans, soy products, seitan. These are all things that are packed full of protein. Protein is so important for us, as everyone lets us know, because of it's the building blocks of our tissue, our hair, bones, nails, etc. If you have not gone to my video about protein, you know that you're supposed to have 0.8 grams per your kilograms in weight. That means that protein is about 10 to 35% of your daily calories. Whole grains is 20 to 25%. This is going to give us all the sustainable energy that we need, as well as fiber. So we already know we get a lot of fiber from our vegetables, and majority of the time we get the other fiber from our grains. Our grains are like quinoa, millet, amaranth. There's just so many different grains that we don't have to stick to just rice. We're doing whole grains here. So the whole grains means that we're going to get a complex carb and not a simple carb. We know that simple carbs are something that goes straight into our bloodstream. We don't need that. We do not need something that's going to make straight sugar for us. We need something that's going to break down slowly so that we have that sustainable energy. So that was our plate. Again, half the plate is vegetable, the other quarter is grains, and the other quarter is protein. Now getting off the plate, we know that if we are going to use oils, which are not necessary, but if we do, that we should be limiting that to 5 to 7 teaspoons of oil a day. That's enough for our body to process without it becoming now an over amount. But if you want to eat your healthy fats in whole food form, you can always eat it in avocados, olives, coconut. These are all ways that you can still get the fat that you want, but do not have to compromise having all the extra calories minus the fiber at the same time. And let's not forget about our seeds and our nuts. We know that we have some great seeds in chia, flax, pumpkin. We're going to get some omega-3s, some zinc, all the things that we really want to build our lives on. As well as our nuts, and our nuts give us a little bit of protein, but also a lot of good healthy fats. Seasoning. So seasoning and flavor, you can have that in abundance. Before, we're talking about the healthy fats being kind of limited because it's still fat, and our bodies and our hearts have to process that. It goes through our blood, so we need to have that, but not too much. But when it comes to seasoning and flavors, sky's the limit. You can have as much as you want, and it also comes with antioxidants and minerals that'll help you out. Now, I know I just said sky's the limit, and I'm now having to put some stuff back. Let's talk about this part. This part is that when it comes to salt and sugar, those are the things that we do need to limit. So if you're going to use refined sugars, which I don't suggest, if you do, you need to limit that to a certain amount per day, as well as your salt. You're doing a small sprinkle. You're not killing it with sodium. Fortified plant-based dairy. So you can definitely use nutritional yeast or make your own cheeses. To me, that's what I would recommend. That means you can make cheeses out of Brazil nuts or out of cashews or even out of almonds. Those are different compared to buying the already ultra processed cheeses. And those to me are shortcuts when needed. That is not something that is sustainable. And if I had to recommend anything, I would recommend about 2 servings per day. This way you can get some extra calcium, some extra protein in, and you can get that through eating some plant-based milks or some plant-based yogurts. Now, supplements. Supplements is something that is very controversial because everyone wants to say, oh, you can get all your nutrients from food. I do believe you can get a lot of nutrients from food, but I don't think you can get all of them because some of these things are just a little bit different. We can get vitamin B12 through a supplement or even through nutritional yeast and any kind of fortified foods. Vitamin D, you can get vitamin D from the sun, but if you are melanated like me, that means you're going to need an additional amount of vitamin D because that's not going to break through the skin as easily. So now that means that we are getting a supplement of vitamin D. You also can get additional supplements of vitamin D through mushrooms. Vitamin K. Vitamin K normally goes hand in hand with vitamin D. If you see a vitamin D supplement, it normally has vitamin K on it. But you also get vitamin K through leafy greens. But again, it might not be enough for your body to absorb and use. You also might want to supplement that with a vitamin. Iron is so deficient in even meat eaters. They are low on iron. They can't sustain it, especially if you're female. We lose iron so frequently that we have to boost up our amount. Now we know we can get iron through lentils, but iron goes hand in hand with vitamin C. That helps us absorb it better. So because of that, you want to have vitamin C with your iron. So that means that you're sprinkling some lemon juice on your lentils, but at the same time, you also can take iron supplement to boost up that. And that's again for meat eaters and non-meat eaters alike. Omega-3s. So we know that for it to be enough anti-inflammatory for it to work, we need to have more omega-3s than we have omega-6s and omega-9s. That is through our flax seeds, our chia seeds. We can get a lot of omega-3s as well as algae as another way to do it. I know a lot of people get their omega-3s through fish oil supplements, but it's only because the fish are eating the algae that they are getting this omega-3s. It does not come through actual fish. So bypass the extra and go straight for the source. Get you some omega-3s. Now, if you've not had the honor to hear from Dr. Greger, he is one of the biggest speakers of the plant-based movement right now. Dr. Greger has his own system that I always think is the best way to go. When most people say, how do I want to introduce or go plant-based? I always say, go for the daily dozen. Let's look at this chart. So we see that there's 3 servings of beans per day. So that means you can have beans for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or even a snack. And this way, you're getting your protein and your fiber in. Berries, we have 1 serving of berries per day. With that 1 serving of berries per day, this allows you to get those antioxidants and those phytonutrients. 3 servings of fruit, that is any kind of fruit. We can do apples, pears, bananas, anything you want, but you should be eating that 3 times a day to get all the nutrients you can get from those fruits. Cruciferous vegetables, getting 1 serving of cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous means things like Brussels sprouts, cabbage, broccoli. These are all things that are helping with your fiber and helping push out things that we don't want. 2 servings of leafy greens. With your 2 servings of leafy greens, that could be in your smoothie, that could be a side item. Regardless, it could also even be a salad. 2 servings of vegetables outside of that. So many people forget what vegetables are. Again, these are things like celery, carrots, beets, zucchini, even though we know that zucchini is a fruit, but we still use it as a vegetable. These are all options that you all have on your plate, and you need 2 servings of it. 1 serving of flax seeds. He recommends flax seeds because of the lignans. Those are great for your body, and this helps anti-inflammatory. 1 serving of nuts. Dr. Greger's not a big advocate for a lot of fat, and so 1 serving of nuts per day works great. It gives you the fat and the protein that helps your boost. 3 servings of grains. So remember, we're talking about whole grains here. You can use that in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snack for those 3 servings. But just so we know, if you go to my protein video, you'll see that these grains are also powerhouses for protein. 1 serving of spices. These spices can be any types, but they are going to help you with again, antioxidants and other nutrients. 1 serving of exercise per day. You want to do something that's very vigorous. You want your heart to be able to pump as much as humanly possible so that it can get into routine of pushing that nutrients through your body. 5 servings of beverage per day. When he says a beverage, he means water, green tea, or hibiscus tea. Those are the things that he promotes. I also recommend, if you can possibly get more in, definitely get more in, as 80% of your body is water. And then lastly, on the bottom, he talks about supplements because, again, vitamin B12 is detrimental to all of us. We need to have vitamin B12 as well as vitamin D. Now, a way to make plant-based eating a whole lot easier is by batch cooking. You're batch cooking your vegetables, you're batch cooking your protein, you're batch cooking your grains. This way, you're pulling out of the refrigerator and you're assembling it and you're ready to go. As well as, don't forget flavor, because flavor is super important. We want to have like a sauce or some kind of roasted seeds for texture. This allows us to really enjoy our food, as well as not have to make so many decisions for the week. We're already in decision fatigue each and every day. Let food not be one of those problems. And another great thing about batch cooking is it saves you time and money. So that way you know exactly how much you're spending and you don't have to go out to eat because you already have food at home. So elaborating on the batch cooking, why it's time saving, and the food is already prepped. So all you're doing is warming it up and not having to worry about where or when you have to go get it. It's cost effective because we know that we're eating something that we already paid for. We're not having to additionally go out. And the food is going to be nutritious to us. So that means that it's going to be on a lower price, because buying a whole potato, buying a whole fruit, buying the grains dry, this saves us money. Buying in bulk also saves us money. And it promotes a healthy eating habit. When you see all of those people on YouTube having an amazing time, they're ripping out the refrigerator and they're ready to go, that's how you know that it's the best decision for you. This allows you to really focus on all of those macro groups, really break down your nutrition. So some steps about batch cooking is your meal planning first. So what are you going to eat? What macros, what protein, what carbs, what fats are you going to eat this week? As well as then preparing them. So now, for me, I always teach people that you can do that in 3 days. Day 1 is meal prep. Day 2 is shop and chop. So that way, when you come home, you have everything chopped, and then you give a 3rd day for actually cooking the food. Once the food is cooked, you now have batches, containers to put those foods in, and you can store them in the refrigerator or in the freezer. And don't forget to label them so you know exactly when the food was made. There are some more benefits for batch cooking. This allows you to control all of your foods, where if you eat a processed food or you eat a frozen dinner, you don't know how much sugar, salt, or oil has been in it. This allows you to be ready for any time. If someone comes over, you have food to share as well. Look at all these different benefits. This is just a win-win-win for you. So in summary, We see here that we are going to get the most bang for our buck when we prep and think about exactly what we want to eat for the week, as well as this allows us to really visualize our plate. Our plate is half veggies, a quarter of protein, a quarter of grains, and then extras on the side. But we know that if half of our plate is veggies, we're getting all of our nutrients. We have a quarter of those grains and proteins. That's going to be our protein and our energy source. We saw that Dr. Greger's checklist helped us. Just so you know, it's also an app. So if you want to, you can get his app, and that allows you to check off each day what you're eating, and these are going to promote your health. This plate method is so adaptable. It's more or less a plug and play. That way that you're able to get everything you need. I am so glad you joined me for the second part of this course. This allows you to get some ideas. And if you need to, go in the comments. Don't forget to let me know what else you need so that we can make more videos for you. If this video was helpful for you, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see more. And I can't wait to join you for part 3. See you next time.